Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk about some indie and self-published books I really need to read. Obviously, we are still in the month of the Indie Accords, which I have absolutely been loving because sometimes I neglect the indie and self-published books on my TBR. I have read so many books already this month, and so many of them have been super highly rated. Like, I have just been enjoying my reading time so much. But I still have a ton of indie and self-published books that are going to be on my TBR after this month is over. So what I decided to do is pick 15 books that I definitely still need to get to, definitely still want to read, but are on my TBR. So some of these I have physical copies of, and some of these are on my Kindle, and a couple of them I don't own a physical or ebook copy yet, but I've heard amazing things about them, and so I do want to read them as well. The first book is actually one of those books. It's going to be Nightfall by Daniel Barnett. I've heard amazing things about this book and this series from Lena from Sufficiently Advanced Lena. So this is going to be the first book in the Nightmareland Chronicles, which means I think this one is specifically a horror type of story. And I don't even actually know too much about what this is about, but it does say Nightfall is the first volume of the Nightmareland Chronicles, an ongoing serialized adventure horror epic. So, yes. The next books I want to read are all from the same series. These are going to be the Hush Note series by Serena Bowen, Devney Perry, and Rebecca Yarros. So this is a trilogy, all by different authors, but all in the same series. They are romances. I believe they are all adult romances revolving around a rock band. These are rock star romances. I don't remember exactly too much about each individual book, but I believe the first one is the guitarist, the second one is the drummer, and the third one, it looks like another guitarist. So maybe one of them is a bass guitar. I actually don't know. The covers are gorgeous though. These are some of my favorite covers ever. They are just so cool. I actually bought these at my local Barnes & Noble November or December of last year when I was buying some books because I really wanted to read everything, and I haven't read them yet. They are something I definitely want to read. I really wanted to get them into my Indie Accords TBR, but I wasn't too sure if any of these fit for the middle-aged main character prompt, and they didn't really fit for any other prompt that we were currently doing, so I wasn't able to get them in, but I definitely do want to read them. One thing I absolutely love about my local Barnes & Noble, this is actually the Barnes & Noble I used to work at, but one of the managers, who is actually a friend of mine, is amazing about making sure we have indie and self-published romance books in the romance section. That's her favorite section in the entire store, and so that's why I'm able to buy a lot of self-published indie type romances at the physical bookstore, and so I need to read these. Again, so cool. I've only read one other book by Serena Bowen before. I have not tried Devney Perry or Rebecca Yarros, but they are authors I have heard of before, so yes, definitely need to read these. The next one I want to read is Fantasy of Frost by Kelly St. Clair. So this one is the whole reason the Indie Accords started. This is Lana's one of her favorite books, and it is a self-published book by Kelly St. Clair, and so the Indie Accords was born. Lana actually sent me a copy of this as a present, which again I am so thankful for because I am so excited to get into this. If Lana likes the book, I am almost guaranteed to like it as well, and so I am super excited for this. First of all, the cover is gorgeous. And then I don't, again, know exactly too much about this one. It is going to be a fantasy romance, but besides that, I don't know too much about it. But it is gorgeous. I think it is the first in the series, and I'm very excited to have this one. The next book that I want to read, I don't own a copy of it yet, but it is going to be The Patience of a Dead Man by Michael Clark. This one was Lezlie from the Nerdy Narratives' pick for the Indie Accords for the horror mystery thriller team, and I'm very interested in it. This cover is super intriguing, and apparently this is going to be some sort of haunted house type of story. A man goes to a house, tries to start fixing it up, and starts seeing ghosts and what looks like a woman with flies on her and that kind of stuff. And so many people that have been reading this for the Indie Accords have absolutely been enjoying their time reading it, and so I definitely want to get to this one as well. The next book that I definitely want to get to is Wolfgang Wild by Juliet Cross. This one I do have an ebook copy of, and the main reason I got this is because of Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. This is the first book in a paranormal romance series that she has absolutely been loving, and they just sound like so much fun. This first one does have to deal with a werewolf and a witch, and I just love the fact that like the entire series has like sort of like puns for the titles, and it just sounds like a whole lot of fun. The next one I have here is Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. Now, this was not originally on my list when I first started like making it, because this is the second book in the Ice Planet Barbarians series. I had never originally wanted to read that one because based on the original cover and like even like this kind of cover, it felt more like erotica than romance. The first cover, I'll pop it up here just so you guys can see it really quick. It looks like they're in the middle of like, they're going to be having sex on the cover. And everything that you hear about it, like I actually knew about this series before TikTok got their hands on it, and I just was not interested. Everything that I had heard about it felt very much like blue aliens, and this is what their junk looks like. That's like all anybody ever really talked about. I will talk about my actual feelings on the first book in my wrap-up, but safe to say, since I bought the next two, actually, this one and the next one, I liked what I read. It had a lot more substance than I thought it was going to have, and so, yeah, these are sci-fi romances, and the first one definitely had a lot more romance than I was expecting and a lot more plot than I was expecting just based on, like, word of mouth, but I'm so glad I definitely tried it out. The next one I have here is The Octunnumi by Trevor Allen Forrest. I don't actually know much about this one either, but it is super gorgeous. The hype surrounding this definitely made me buy it. But from what I understand, this is supposed to be a fantasy type of book, a fantasy type of world, and it is presented to us like it's real. Like this is a found book. Like you found a manual or something like that. I don't know much about it except for that it is freaking gorgeous. Like the pages have like designs on them. But yeah, I definitely need to see what this is about. Then I also want to read The Murder in G Major by Alexia Gordon. This one is some sort of humorous mystery. I do not have a copy of this book yet, but I did find it when I was looking for more books like Eat, Pray, Die by Chelsea Field, which I really enjoyed a couple months ago, and I'm continuing in that series. And this is a different series, all related to like mystery, thriller type of things, but it's all like orchestra, musical instrument stuff. So yes, Murder in G Major is the first one in this series. I don't know much else besides that, but it has good reviews and I want to read it. Then the next one I have here is Conquest by Celeste Hart. I do have an ebook copy of this. This one I purchased as an ebook last year and I do want to read it. I keep forgetting that I have stuff on my Kindle, so I don't read my ebooks as much as my physical books, but I was very intrigued by this because this is some sort of fantasy with like dragons and stuff like that, but I do believe it is set in modern day. I don't know how I know that or if I just started like reading a preview of the book or whatever it was, but it is like a fantasy modern day contemporary thing, even though it is also like an epic fantasy. I don't know, but the combination sounds very intriguing. The next one I would like to read is The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. I actually follow Courtney Milan on Twitter, and so that is how I know about this book. And just based on the cover, I really want to try. I think this is like a second chance romance type of thing between the Duke and I don't know what the status is of our female main character, but I think they were friends and stuff when they were younger, and then he moved away and he comes back and he is trying to like win her over again. I do believe this is a historical romance, and I'm not the biggest fan of historical, but the concept of it sounds amazing. I know Crystal has liked this, I know Isabel from Happy for Now is like this, and so I definitely want to try it. Then I also have Sweethand by N.G. Peltier. This one is another romance. This one came out a few months ago and I was very eagerly anticipating it, and I just haven't gotten to it yet, even though I do have an ebook copy. And this one, I don't know much about it, but I believe it is some sort of enemies to lovers type of romance. It's supposed to have some sort of like baking element. I think our main female character is a baker or something like that, and it just looks super cute, super adorable. I definitely need to read it. Another one I would like to get to is Sabbath of the Fox Devils by Sam Richard. This one, Christina from Northwest Reader read recently, and I was talking to her about like the cover on it, which just looked very intriguing, but she sent me a picture of like the dedication. Apparently this author dedicated it to his wife, who I believe has passed away, and the dedication just like got me. So I don't even know much about this story, but I do need to read it. I believe this one is being compared to like 80s horror creature films like Gremlins and that kind of thing, and so I definitely want to try it out. Another book that I definitely want to get to is Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I keep hearing so many good things about this book. It is a sports romance. I believe there's something to do with basketball. Is there a basketball on this cover here? I don't have the cover in front of me, but like I feel like there might be a basketball on the cover. I don't know. But it is a romance that is also dark in parts, and I just love anything that is going to like tear my heart out. In a good or bad way. Like, I like the angst, and so I definitely need to read this. I know because it is going to be dark, there are probably trigger warnings or content warnings available for this. I'm probably gonna go in blind though, but I know it's supposed to be like a darker contemporary romance. And then I also want to read Cute Mutants Volume 1 Mutant Pride by S.J. Whitby. And this is some sort of, I believe, queer, like, superhero, X-Men, mutant type of thing, and the cover is definitely something that intrigued me to this one. It is going to be part of a series, and it just looks super fun. And then finally, I have Running with Lions by Julian Winters. Now, this is going to be a YA soccer type of book. It is going to be queer. I do believe there is some sort of romance in here. I've had it on my shelves for way too long. I definitely need to get to this one. I have had it, like I said, for a while, and I keep meaning to read it. I think this is actually one of the books that I said I was going to read by the end of 2021. So I need to find a TBR to put this on so I can do that. Okay, and so those are all 15 books slash series that I definitely want to get to that are indie or self-published. Are there any books that you are super excited to read that you know are indie or self-published? Because I'm always looking for more, even though sometimes I forget that I have books on my e-reader. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!